But yeah, I say that to say like a lot of black led shows are, the numbers are dwindling down, and there was news, well, the trailer for the Fresh Prince reboot dropped, and I see a lot of people across the timeline talking about, did we need this reboot? And I'm just stuck. Like when the creatives did their little trailer where it was a fan made trailer inspired by the Fresh Prince that dramatized the show. Everyone was excited about this trailer and the fact that it should get into the hands of Will Smith and that he should see it, which it did. And now I believe they took that concept to reboot the show, which is what we're getting with the show entitled Bel-Air. So, where in that process did we go from, oh, this take on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air so great, Will needs to see it, to now that the trailer is out and the show has been filmed and rebooted, we can go without that reboot. Make it make sense. I'm excited for it. Again, black people are the harshest critics, clearly, because not one episode premiered yet, and everyone's like, we don't need this. And we got to stop doing that because then we won't have any shows because everyone would network TV would feel like, oh, you're not gonna watch this, so why are we spending money to create these shows? And it's just like we know this, but we still shit on a show before it airs, before we've seen any of it, and write it off. And then now the network is like, well, cancel that. Nobody wants to see it. And I can use Dear White People as an example. And I was one of these people. But then I said, I'm gonna watch one episode before I judge it. But they announced the season finale, the series finale season of Dear White People was going to be a musical season. And I was one of these people that was like, how are you gonna take what was so great about this show and then in its last season say, here's a musical season? And I was just like, I don't see the connection here, especially with how the previous season ended. So I was on that train that was like, nah, I'm not watching this because I don't want to see a musical. And I feel like they really relied heavily on saying that it was a 90s musical because I love all things 90s, so that should have grabbed me. But I was like, nah, one thing you don't want to do is touch the 90s. Second thing you don't want to do is take a show that was like socially conscious about issues and turn it into just a musical that had nothing to do with the issues. Having watched it, I feel like they shouldn't have dived into promoting the series finale as a musical because the entire season was not, it was a musical, but at the same time it wasn't. Um Dear White People's promo should not have been 90s musical because we picked up where we left off, but we also jumped ahead and the musical aspect of the season made sense, but not to the extent that it was the entire season, because it wasn't. It was actually continuing all of the issues and all of the things that we knew Dear White People to be. So again, everyone shaded on the idea that the last season of Dear White People was going to be a musical. A lot of people didn't watch it, and a lot of people were on the bandwagon to like, oh, I don't want to see a musical and not for the finale. So again, Dear White People loses viewers because of the way the show was marketed. Same thing goes for this Fresh Prince, Bel-Air. Bel-Air. Uh, People are going off of the trailer without having seen any parts of seeing the actual show and judging based on that. And before the show premieres, you guys create this whirlwind where everybody's jumping on like, ah, we don't need this. I don't want that. That's look whack. This looks like All American. This looks like all of these other shows that are out, and it's just like what's going to end up happening is Peacock, I believe, is the one is gonna give Bel Air one season, and then you're gonna watch some years down the line, and then wonder why this show didn't continue. And then the next project will come out, and y'all will do the exact same thing again, and wonder why there are no continuations or the shows get canceled. And if you want to talk about reboots and continuations, as if we haven't felt this way since the ending of, well, Girlfriends didn't end, but the fact that y'all are so up in arms about Fresh Prince being rebooted, and even the thoughts like everyone wants Girlfriends movie continuation, something, because a show like Girlfriends with its success hasn't seen companies putting up the money to continue the story or produce movies. And if you think about Sex in the City, Sex in the City has had two, three movies, and now a reboot series, and people are not happy with the content. I mean, the quality of the new reboot, and it's just like this show was allowed movie after movie after movie, now a new series, and Girlfriends hasn't gotten anything, and the whole cast is willing to jump back into this show and continue. So like again, why isn't there any Girlfriends continuation, reboot, movies, any of that? And then as I'm thinking about reboots and all of those things, there are a lot of shows that are getting reboots. How I Met Your Mother is getting a How I Met Your Father. They're trying to do the Office reboot. Uh, Dexter has been rebooted. Uh, there's a number of shows that Friends had this elaborate, laid out reunion, and fans of Friends, because I'm not one, asked about the cast jumping back into doing a new iteration of Friends, and it's just like there are more of these shows that don't necessarily need reboots that are getting all these reboots, and there are none on this side. So when we finally get Fresh Prince. It's weird that everyone's like, we don't need a reboot of Fresh Prince. The show was what it was. Leave it. It's not like the cast of Fresh Prince is doing the Fresh Prince continuing from where they left off. It's a whole new show based on what the story of Fresh Prince was. I feel like it's an excellent iteration of the story, and it would be good to, again, we're not doing the same show again. We're creating a new formatted show based on the original show. What's so hard about them doing that? And then there are a number of shows that got canceled or ended because of the writer strike, and they never got concluded. And it's like Girlfriends is at the top of the list as to one of the shows that should, there's no question, should get a movie, couple of movies, a reboot, all of those things that Sex and the City has gotten, Girlfriends definitely should have gotten. But again, I don't know, what are we waiting for? Half and Half ended on a cliffhanger. And Half and Half wasn't canceled. There was no room. I believe it's Half and Half. There was no, it could have, yeah, Half and Half, I believe. There was no room in the lineup schedule because they added Reba to one of the one of the nights, and it was either Half and Half or All of Us, and they chose to proceed with All of Us, and Half and Half ended without resolution. Another show where all of the actors can come back, reprise their roles, and do a new version of the show right where they left off. But again, we're so super critical of our 90s sitcoms that y'all missing the point that there aren't that many shows, and our shows are not getting the just due that they deserve, so it would make sense that they get rebooted, creating opportunities for these actors, the sets, all of those things. So I just don't understand why everyone is so quick to be like, nah, they didn't need to do this, when in actuality we need these type of shows. We need a resolution for Half and Half. We need I believe the same thing happened with One on One. Like none of our black sitcoms, not many of them had a resolution. Insecure made it to 5 seasons and decided to end the show, and everyone's complaining like they didn't have to end the show. But again, a lot of black shows don't even see the end, so it's better. I mean, I guess in Issa's mind, like the story was what it was, and they resolved it and wrapped it up in 5 seasons. So cool, but a lot of shows don't get a chance to wrap up the entire show, i.e., Girlfriends. While it wasn't it, while it did make it to 8 seasons, it did make it to 8 seasons. The eighth season didn't have to be the last season as well. At some point, the show could have kept going. And again, movies, reboots, all of those things that we see with Sex in the City, easily comparable to what Girlfriends deserves. The same, elaborate HBO special for Friends. Living Single didn't get that, and Friends was basically a copy of Living Single. And again, Living Single doesn't get the praise and the recognition as Friends. But again, we continue. I mean, y'all continue to like bash and hate all of the black sitcoms being rebooted. Meanwhile, the shows that we have are like getting back down to being nothing but these We got the Power Universe. We got these good shows on Stars. Um, Run the World. Run the World. I want to say Run the World. I believe it's Run the World. Great show. We got Harlem on Amazon. But y'all complaining about that. I don't know how. Uh, um, the stuff that Tyler Perry is doing on BT that y'all complaining about as well. It's like, yeah, we're never happy with anything, and then when we have nothing, we're gonna wonder why we don't have anything.